think that takes away from the conversation that we should be having, and is looking at pictures like this and looking at our country acknowledging these first responders, acknowledging those medical professionals that saved so many lives, continue to do so, and those wounded that are still laying in the hospital fighting for their lives.
You know, Pete, I do want to acknowledge, though, that the argument on the other side is, well, when we looked at Orlando and other shootings where we thought San Bernardino is probably a better example, because we thought there that we were dealing with radical Islamic terrorists and that. And so the conversation does go to different things politically. The president at the time hadn't called it the right thing. I mean, you're probably, no matter where you stand, just best staying away from politics no matter what the situation is.
Well, and these debates are predictable, completely predictable, of course. If it's radical Islamic terrorism, we talk about that. If it isn't and a motive is unclear, then the left talks about guns and they want to make incremental gains.
So we need a safe zone.
Well, there should be a space.
And it should be obvious to everybody.
Not a safe zone, no politics
The left cannot resist themselves. They never will. Rahm Emanuel's adage that you never waste a good crisis.
Or do we not? Or is it okay to have these debates? Because I got to tell you, Jillian, 2 weeks after Orlando, 2 weeks after San Bernardino, when the left, the right, everybody said we were going to talk about these issues, we didn't. So maybe you're forced to take in the I don't know. I'm just asking the question.
You can argue that where you stand on that depends on where you sit, right? But I think the big framework for this discussion, I think, should be about, okay, it's the government and by extension the President of the United States' first and foremost responsibility to protect the American citizens here at home on the streets where we live. And if we're at a point where citizens don't feel free and safe to go about their daily lives because there's potential of being slaughtered in the streets, I'm not making an argument pro or against gun legislation. I'm simply stating a fact here. I see you getting like agitated. I'm simply saying that is a discussion. I think that should be the framework.
Sure, and the other side will point out the negative liberties that the government is there to protect.
But this is the primary. If you don't have that, then you have nothing else. You have no liberties and no rights as an American citizen. If you are potentially going to get slaughtered by your fellow Americans in the streets, that eradicates everything else.
If you don't have the ability to defend yourself, then you really don't.
And that's fair. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying I think that's the framework. That is the way we need to approach this, not on one-off political issues about gun rights or illegal immigration.
You know why that's so interesting? Because the one-off political issues tend to be pro-lawmaker, and it looks like grandstanding. I don't know if that's what Democrats' goal is today, but they do need to be reminded that the addition that this man reportedly added onto his guns, that bump stock as it's being called, that was new to me, came under the Obama administration, the legality of that addition onto a gun. And I'm not hearing that from Democrats.
Of course not. So it doesn't promote their narrative right now.
And the bump stock, banning a bump stock isn't going to stop a guy like this in the future from doing this. We live in a world of 3D printers.
They've already all been sold.
He's going to figure out.
All the bump stocks have been sold. So if you...
Judge Andrew Napolitano answers your question, Jillian. In the Washington Times, he has a piece published this morning, Can the Government Keep Us Safe? And it explores that very issue. If they're going to take guns out of the hands of law-abiding citizens wanting to protect themselves, they take on a greater responsibility of protecting those citizens.
Well, that's, it goes both ways.
All right. Wow. Let's move on. Hillary Clinton. Well, you heard it a little bit here. I think, Rachel, you brought it up. She didn't hold back. She went off on President Trump.